families, welcome back once again. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If this is your first time here, my name is Mambi and you are very welcome. This video is from Niger. I kept a video and I deleted it, and right now I'm not happy because I wasted a lot of hours looking for it. I couldn't find it, but I have to share this video with you. Please listen to this one and I will explain everything to you later. I'll be back. Thank you.
Say that the CNSP has, among other things, honored the logical line of the SP. Today, among these actions, we can note the withdrawal from military bases, the creation of the AES, and then the Confederation of the States of Africa and the States of the Sahel. All of that deserves to be commended. Also, there are major projects currently underway, notably the project for the currency of the AES states. It's a flagship project. I hope it becomes a reality. But alongside all these positive actions that honor the ideological line of the SPT, we also have some constructive criticism to offer to the CNSP. Today, despite all these achievements, it must be regretted, in any case, that the creation of the council, the consultative council, was done without the workers' side for the first time. And I would even say that it's a social setback. For the first time, a government has chosen to form this kind of initiative without including the workers. Today, workers are still the primary individuals who actively produce wealth and generate economic value for society. And we cannot reflect on important aspects of our nation's life without considering labor. It makes no sense, and this is a group that should not normally be forgotten. This group, which should not have been forgotten, was this time it was overlooked. We cannot, in any case we wanted to, but we could not find any reasons that could justify this. But we would like this to be corrected. It's never too late to do the right. At this point, we assume that measures will be taken to correct this so that the workers can participate, right, in the Consultative Council for the Refoundation, especially since we're talking about refoundation, and the trade unions have been at the forefront of this struggle for change. The trade unions have openly expressed their support for the CNSP without hypocrisy. Today, in the name of what? In any case, we still ask ourselves the question, in the name of what were the trade unions excluded from the Consultative Council for the refoundation of the Republic? Now, alongside that, what must also be deeply and genuinely regretted is that in recent times, the management of the state's overall expenditures has been somewhat characterized by a degree of wastefulness and inefficiency. When I say wastefulness, it wasn't long ago that our fellow workers, the teachers, demanded, didn't they, the hiring of contract workers into the civil service. It wasn't long ago that the trade union centers met with the government side as part of, wasn't it, the Interministerial Negotiation Committee. There was a time when we were told that all issues with financial implications had to be postponed because we were made to understand that the country did not have enough financial resources to address. Isn't that right? These concerns. All right. But at the same time, we learned, in any case, about all these inexplicable benefits granted to the members of the Consultative Council, given to the advisors, which is, in fact, a wasteful misuse of resources. And these are things that need to be pointed out and for which measures must be taken to correct them. Today, in the current context of rebuilding, I think these are practices that should be avoided. These are practices that should be avoided. Since these practices are wasteful at a time when we keep saying there is no money. And because there is no money, certain projects are impossible. Yet, at the very same time, paralyzing benefits are being granted, aren't they, to the advisors who are members of the Consultative Council. We believe that these are things the CNSP needs to address. But overall, it should be noted that there have been more positive stances, more positive actions than negative ones. It should be remembered that the CNSP still had the courage to create a break with the political regime. When this break was made, the people of Canaan firmly welcomed this new situation, and the people joined with the CNSP to support it in building this break. So today, we are in the phase of designing this break. Of course, there are ups and downs, but we believe that everything we have described as somewhat negative actions are things that must be taken seriously and corrected. This happens in the course of every state. And in the course of every revolution, there are highs and there are lows. So the comments we are making are constructive. It's so that measures can be taken, so that things can be corrected. To avoid repeating the past foundation means breaking away from the old bad practices that we have known and that have brought this country to where it is today.
Thank you so much, families, for listening to that video. If I didn't delete the other one, maybe it will make sense, maybe it will not, because I had it for months and it doesn't make sense to me. But when he mentioned that the government had meeting, that was the minister of Niger, the prime minister, he had a meeting of a group of trade representatives or employees. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't that clear. It was short news. And they shake hands and they said they are not going to demonstrate. They are waiting for the government to take action. The minister shake their hands. And I thought, okay, everything is fine, but I still don't get it. Let me keep it. And I kept it for months. Nothing happened. And I think I've deleted it. What this gentleman is saying makes sense. Once again, there was a video I hold on to. After the inauguration ceremony of the president of Niger, General Abdourahmane Tiani, a gentleman came out to talk about his feeling, what he think about the consultation assembly that have Ghana, Niger, yes, Chad and other nationalities among them. According to what he said, he brought out some articles saying that this consultation or the president advises they will be paying them. There's no need to be paying them because they need the money to build the country. I thought let me just leave it. Families listen. I found that one. I'll be back.
The President of the Republic, Head of State, His Excellency General Abdourahmane Tiani, has signed a decree setting the salaries, allowances, and additional benefits granted to the members of the Consultative Council for the Refoundation. This decree has sparked reactions from many citizens, including that of a civil society actor who shares his point of view with us here.
First of all, let's make sure we understand one thing. We would have liked what we have in Niger to be a parliament, to be an assembly. Unfortunately, it is not one. It is not one. It's just a consultative council. Do you see what I mean? Because when you look at it a bit, as I mentioned earlier, in the ordinance that governs the missions and responsibilities of this body, you see that it's just an organ that occasionally gives its opinion on issues concerning the nation's interests, but only if it is consulted by whom? By the CNSP. They don't pass laws. It's always the CNSP. So the president of the CNSP, who legislates by ordinance, meaning he issues ordinances to decide on laws. They don't set taxes and they don't oversee the government's actions. It's really just a consultative body. In a way, if you like, they're simply advisors, as the name suggests. So when we decide to allocate so much money to this, it just doesn't make sense. Do you see what I mean? But if it were a parliament, and again, when it comes to having a parliament, that's when we need to discuss what the number should be, which is actually quite important for a country in crisis. The number is quite staggering, which we really don't need. We could have had a much more reasonable number. And even if we decide if we have a reasonable number, then this time we could consider granting them some benefits. And as you mentioned, the case of Burkina is quite illustrative. We can give them allowances without giving them salaries, unlike what we're seeing here at home. But here, we ultimately end up with just under 200 people for a country with a substantial population of about 30 million. We certainly don't need that many at all. We only have 8 regions. Given the context we're currently going through, the security challenge is enormous and quite costly. education, which is a basic social sector, is also facing financial difficulties. And health, let's not even mention its water supply and everything that comes with it. All the money we're investing in that body could be put to use over there instead. It will be a fairly reasonable, understandable, and wise expense rather than ending up with a consultative body holding such a large portfolio. As I said, for us, the CNSP really needs to reconsider its approach because, as we always say, it's never too late to do better.
The Consultative Council for the Refoundation is replenishing its coffers, and among its members are those same figures who, not so long ago, were denouncing the privileges of a select few insiders.
This is what he also said that time, just after the inauguration and the consultation and everything. Again, it doesn't make sense to me properly. I agree with him, the money aspect of it. If you don't have money, why paying this amount to people who will be advising you once, maybe in a month or something? Yes, because they need the money to rebuild the country. But this one, the first one you have listened to, I'll put it on the screen. I agree with him in so many things because you can tell he's not disagreeing with the government or against the government, let me put it that way. But there are certain things that they are expecting the government to do, and right now the government is not doing. At the end, he concluded by saying these are some of the things that was bringing conflict between the people in the country. So yes, he's advising the government to do what? Do something about it. And to those of you, my families, that do not follow this news for, or you don't know anything about the South, just like me, I didn't know the Niger Prime Minister was in the previous government. I didn't know. I came across a video about 6 years ago. Maybe I'll add it to this one at the end. If not, I will react on it another time. He knew what was going on before. And for him to listen to the gentleman that consulted him that time, he shook their hands and he said he'll work on it. He understand everything. So whatever they were about to do, they said they will wait for the government. And up to now, listen this video that came yesterday, the gentleman explaining everything. Who am I to advise them?
Good morning, Minister. We would like to know what you think the impact of the crisis will be on your country, Niger, and what your response will be as Minister of Finance.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to answer such a timely question. The crisis, which began as a financial one but is now economic, is affecting entire countries around the world, and especially in Africa, and countries like ours are not spared. However, I must say that by the grace of God, for now, we are not completely affected for a number of reasons. First, because we belong to a common monetary management area, the WEMU, which is somewhat broader. The franc zonaire country belongs to this group of countries, shares an advanced warning system that has helped to somewhat mitigate the impact of the crisis, particularly on the financial front. The Banking Commission, which is a body that oversees our entire regulatory framework, as well as our shared system for managing the common reserve, which is the central bank. Now, more broadly, Niger could be affected by the crisis, particularly through the trade we conduct with the neighboring country. Nigeria, for example. We're not at that point yet for now. In two key areas. First, in terms of agropastoral products that are exported to this country. For now, in Nigeria, the country has enough reserves, I believe, and is drawing on them to somewhat lessen the impact of the crisis. If this continues, if the crisis persists, it's clear that it will be felt in the demand for Nigerian agropastoral products. Regarding trade as well, through transit, we think that if the crisis lasts, we may encounter difficulties. But for now, we're not there yet. We're seeing the early signs. That's why we need to anticipate, to find everything necessary to prevent this crisis from lasting.
and if the crisis has a much more serious impact than what you've seen so far, what will your responses be?
Our responses already involve a number of measures we've taken on the budgetary front, but of course, as part of a community, an integrated space. We have joint investment programs, and that's what we're focusing on, explaining to our partners the need to mobilize resources so we can carry out everything planned in these various programs. I think that in the case of the World Bank, it's an institution that can't just stop halfway. The bank has intervened on two essential levels. First, to enable the country to take action on its debt reduction. Niger's multilateral debt is made up primarily of debt owed to the World Bank. Addressing this debt has allowed us to bring our profile down to a level compatible with our ability to manage it. This is something very important. It made it possible to free up resources to carry out a number of investments, particularly in the special program of the President of the Republic, which forms the backbone of our poverty reduction program. On a second level, we have undertaken reforms that are ongoing, and this is why we believe it is absolutely necessary to continue supporting these reform efforts. There are clear effects that are noticeable. We have cleaned up our macroeconomic framework with public finances that are more or less acceptable, efforts to mobilize domestic resources, and public spending that is increasingly well managed. And at this level, it is precisely here that we need to feel the presence of the bank. The third and final point is the financing of development infrastructure. We absolutely need to build more roads and invest in mining. We have this program in place. We must ensure that human development is not compromised, because with this crisis, it feels like we forget that the human aspect is taking a hit. And that's why we need to combine the two. Investment programs in productive sectors, but also the human side to provide support. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Families, I'll leave you here. You think about it. I know because I lost the other video, you might not understand it, but if you are Nigerian and you know something about what is going on, please tell us, because I don't want to be one-sided. I promise to show the good and the bad, and that's what I will do. It's because I didn't understand it properly. They didn't explain it that they need something. All they said is, we are not going out for the demonstration. We'll wait for the government. He said, we agree. And they shake hands, and that was it. So it's this gentleman that have explained everything. They have to look into it and do something before people, because people like this have audience that follow them, just like the demonstrators, the organizers of AES and the rest. They also have large population, citizens that follow them. One bad foot that they will print will bring a lot of things. So they have to look into it and work on it and put things right before it's too late. That's all I can say. Thank you so much, families. This video will be long, and I don't want it to be long. My VIPs, my kings and queens, thank you so much. Your time, your support, and everything. Thank you. God bless you all. Credit to Sahar Info. Sahar Info is a channel that shows everything. It doesn't choose side. And I like him for doing what he's doing. God bless him. 100%, yes. So yes, I will leave you here. Have a great day and stay blessed. Bye bye, family.